Hey there, welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. It's time to harvest onions. Let's go. Wow, look at these onions. You might think they're looking rather sad, all flopped over like that. That's what we want to see. That's how you know when your onions are ready to harvest. The green tops that normally stand up straight flop over, and that's because the neck of these onions gets soft, and well, that indicates the onion bulb is done growing and it's ready to harvest. When we bring it in closer, I'll show you how to harvest these things. These onions that I'm growing were purchased from Dixondale Farms as tiny little baby onion plants. I find this is the easiest way to start onions and grow them in my garden rather than starting from seeds and having to span over multiple seasons. I planted them and I have a video on that. We planted this raised bed. It's a hugelkultur bed. These are short day onions, perfect for our area, and they began to grow and grow. And here they are at the end of April, or in the beginning of April, and looking lush and starting to bulb up. So let's go harvest. All right, you can see that the necks of these onions are flopped over. This one's even nicely dried out. You don't want to pull these onions out. You want to lift them out with a fork or with a spade, and you want to get that dirt off of there. And that's our first onion. Now this one's well on its way to being dry. That one's going to be ready really quick. What we want for storage onions is for this neck no longer to have a lot of moisture in it. We want it to feel papery, and that one's pretty papery already. All right, I'll lay that one aside. Let's pull this one up here. Got a purple onion. Again, that neck is really papery. Don't take all this stuff off until it's cured. These onions were planted in the garden around New Year's Day, January 3rd exactly. So they're not very big, but they're telling me it's time to pull them up. So we're going to pull them up and harvest them, even the small ones, because they're not going to grow anymore with the neck being bent over like that. Even that small onion, it's not going to grow anymore. It's done, it's ready. So we'll leave this one in, see if it'll bulk up a bit more. I doubt it will. This one's still nice and sturdy over here, so we'll leave that one alone. But all these others, they're coming out. What I'm going to do is let these lay in the sun the rest of the day, and then we're going to hang them on a rack that I've made. I've made a little makeshift curing rack to dry these for about 3 weeks. You don't want them in direct sunlight. You want them to be dry though, and in a drying environment. So ideally you want good airflow and some warmth. So we're going to hang these in my garage, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Let's get that one out of there too. So these are kind of small. It's all right. Again, the ones that are still standing upright, I'm going to leave them alone. All these that are flopped over are coming out. Little as they are, I can still use them. I can pickle them, can cook with them. Doesn't really matter. They're onions, and that's all that matters. Again, I'm not going to take all the dirt off until after they're cured. I don't want to damage that delicate skin. But yeah, these are all ready to come out. Wow. I've got some over here to my left that aren't quite ready to come out. We'll leave those in for a week or two more. I don't want them to rot in the ground, so that's why I'm taking them out if they look like they need to come out. Again, look at this neck. See how floppy that neck is? Papery. This is just about cured. Alright, got a few more over here. I've assembled this makeshift drying rack that I'm going to hang from cords on my garage ceiling. I'm just going to wrap some paracord around this end and around that end, and I'm going to suspend it in my garage. I left about a 3/4 inch slot between the two boards, and that's where we're going to put the greens down and the bulbs up. They're just going to rest right on there, and you want them upside down if you can. You don't have to hang them upside down, but people say that these onions will cure better if the greens are pointing downward. It is said to draw the moisture out of the leaves of the outer portion of the onion quicker. So we're going to do that. Now I've got it resting between two chairs just to show you the idea here. So we're going to take the greens and just slip them through the hole and let the onion set on top just like that. And this one's just about done. All that greenery is nice and papery. That's what we want. We want all the greenery to go papery, and we want the skin on the outside of the onion to be that papery kind of skin that you find at the grocery store. This one's going to take a little time. It's still nice and plump in there, but it's not plump enough that it can stand up erect. So I made this little jig here out of some scrap wood from our home renovation project. So this was free, and it'll work just fine. Leave a little bit of space between the onions so they get good airflow. You always want good airflow when you're trying to cure something or dry something, and a little bit of airflow is never a bad idea. Easy as can be. I don't know if I've got enough board space to dry all these onions. I may have to put some just in a tray. That's another way that you can dry onions. It's just by placing them flat on a table or on a tray, and you can dry those onions that way, letting them have some space around them, and you can cure them. I'll also show you another way you can improvise. I have this dog kennel type thing. It's like an enclosure for pets or puppies or something. Made of metal. It's a metal grid. You can also buy fencing material that has a grid like this. And with this method, I could just set these up outside or in a sheltered space and run the green part through the mesh here. It'll go, there we go, and let the onion kind of hang there. If you've got them where they're not quite dry, they won't flop like that. They'll stand erect. I've seen other folks do this on YouTube. I don't have a convenient place to put a contraption like this, but I still wanted to show it anyway, just in case this was an option for you. And you just go on and keep putting your onions in there until you filled it up, and you let them dry. So another option, you could do it this way. All right, that's going to be almost as much as I can get in here. Yeah, these onions were started from baby onion plants that I bought from Dixondale Farms, and I have a video on how I planted these onions and talking about what kinds of onions to buy for your area, and I'll link that video right up there. Let's see, I guess that's all I'm going to get in here. I got 3 left over. Oh, I can fit another one in here. We got some drying onions. What we'll do now is give these 2 to 3 weeks. Some of these, like I said, aren't going to need that long. They're almost ready now, as they've been curing in the hot sun. But others will need 2 or 3 weeks. What we're going to look for is for all of this green material to be dry, like this stuff here. We want all the green to be nice and brown and papery, like this stuff here. And when that is the case, then the outer layer of the leaves that form the outer skin of the onion will also be papery, and that's how you know your onion's ready to store. Then you'll trim off your greenery and trim the roots, clean them up a little bit, and put them away in a cool, dark place. Cool, huh? Thanks for joining us today on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Onions, not really that hard once you get the hang of it. And, well, who doesn't like a garden full of fresh onions? Hey, if you like our content, please consider subscribing. Follow our channel for backyard gardening tips and how-tos, garden tours, things like that. And if you like our content, also check us out on Instagram, on Facebook. Hey, happy gardening to you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.